All right, y'all. Good afternoon, you guys. Thank you for logging on to A Table for Queens. We are here tonight, and we normally go on Sundays, but we had technical difficulties, but we're still here to make sure we bring you clear and concise news. Thank you guys so much for being with us last week. We finally ended the chapter One House Over by Mary Monroe. KQ was not on to elaborate on her part. We're going to piggyback on that a little bit, and we're really going to speak tonight on accountability. What can we do to help change the narrative? Start taking accountability for who we are as women, and start taking accountability for the men that we also allow within this community, because it starts with us and it also will end with us. Tonight, we're going to also be speaking on self-love, because we have a powerful book that's coming up next. It's by Ms. Valencia Taylor. It's called For Kids, For Fathers, and She's Still Winning. She learned the true nature of what self-love is. She started taking accountability for her own actions, and her book focuses on discovering herself. So tonight we're gonna speak about how we ended One House Over by Miss Mary Monroe. And I'm sorry, guys, I have a little. But KQ, you wasn't on last week. We concluded the book. Some of us still had. We were speaking on the sides that we were on. Within the two books, the most dynamic relationship that we saw in that neighbor series was between the two women. What are your thoughts on the two women in that book?
Joyce and what's her name?
Joyce and Yvonne.
Joyce and Yvonne. Well, I think they had a. I'm not gonna say a love-hate relationship, because depending on your definition of friend, my definition of friend, I would say they were not really each other's friend. I would call them acquaintances. We use the word friend very loosely, because I hang with somebody or because I talk with somebody, then automatically they're my friend.
Mhm.
And I would beg to differ. So friendships, no, they wasn't friends, because it was a lot of backbiting, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of disloyalty, and the nature of their relationship was really, I felt Joyce was lonely and really had no other women she could really hang out with and relate to, other than the women at school, and the things that they did next door were not on the level that Yvonne was on. So Yvonne was kind of like her fun time homegirl, but in true settings, she didn't even acknowledge her really as a friend. She would have them over and give them the cheap wine, and the people who she looked up to, she would give them, the more expensive wine. So, and then Yvonne would talk about her, talk about Joyce to her husband, and they also would go to their store and steal things. So they were not true friends to each other.
Okay. Have y'all noticed in our community we often do that? We'll see situationships. Some people call them friendships, and then they end up going horribly wrong. And I don't think now in this culture we teach our children or each other how to be friends. It's like expectations or this what I want. We see a lot of things on social media, people getting along, gathering, but we never really see behind the scenes. And that's why I said I like to call these things behind the book. To me, what kind of disappointed with me with this book, and we're also going to introduce this topic, and that's the thing with self-love and accountability. And this book was very hard for us as ladies. So you guys understand, I know you're only seeing us at the table, but you don't see the whole dynamic, because it was a very hard characteristics book, because that's what it was based on. The author really wrote a character analysis. She basically said in the book that Joyce basically was a good person. Some people may agree and some people may disagree. And that's how we are as women. Sometimes we base things on our lifestyle, what we used to, or how we truly see things. But for me, I was to a standpoint, I wasn't on either woman's side, but I understood where the author was coming from, saying how she basically saw Joyce, because as Kim said, Joyce was not as malicious. She was lonely, did not know how to be a friend, and she let her mouth overload her. But I wish Yvonne had stood up for herself more and told her, hey, that's offensive. You can't say that to me. But it was disappointing was she was not going to say that because I can benefit from you. And I think a lot of times we do that. We get on jobs and we think we meet people and they use us for what they can benefit off of. And it's this show and it comes on TV1 and it's called For My Man. And as a teacher, some people probably say it was politically incorrect letting our students watch that. But as anyone knows that work in the school setting, the kids are lost. Some of them come from broken homes. Some of them come from very good homes. They just don't get the attention they need. And some women feel like we have to be totally for my man because they lack that self-love. They lack that education on someone showing them, hey, it's a better way. And they lose their self. And that's what disappointed me. And that's why I went so hard against Yvonne. Because Yvonne was a beautiful woman. It showed us that she was talented. She can learn and catch on to anything that she wanted to. But Yvonne only wanted to learn things that was going to be quickly and benefit us. And we see that in this community. We'll see girls latch on to drug dealers because they can benefit from them. We'll see girls will come from good homes, have good scholarships, and can be anything they want to be, but they choose the latter option because self-love now equates with who has the biggest bank, who's making me look good, and what can I get from them, and how can I benefit from them. So I didn't want to put that narrative out there saying someone is just mean because they're saying hateful words, because as we saw, both of them were saying hateful words. Both of them had accountability. I felt sorry for Yvonne because to me, she was gracefully broken. She lost her parents at a young age. She had an uncle and aunt that truly loved her, but the choices that she always made solely benefited her. She had a selflessness in her heart, and maybe it was because she missed that from her parents and she needed them. I don't know, but I do know we see it a lot. We see it in the school setting, and we see it a lot with women. There's nothing wrong with loving your man and being there for your man, but it has to be an accountability factor. You can't let a person destroy you or totally deplete you, because once they do, that's why you have that series. You see more women going to jail because of crimes of men. You see more women losing losing themselves and dying at the hands of men that they knew were not correct in the first place. Thank you for logging on, Leora. She's finally in, and I have my daughter on this Zoom also because, like I said, this narrative is important to me because I have small children. Jashari, what is one of the things that you notice in your school setting when it comes to girlfriend and boyfriend relationships and about self-love? Okay, guys, I think I lost her somewhere. Jashari?
You on mute.
Okay, I'm
sorry.
Yes, she said she can't get it to cut on. Okay, Shea, you're just logging on. Miss Super, and you also have a young daughter. What is accountability to you and showing self-love for you?
Well, accountability for me, especially as it relates to my daughter, is really teaching her worth so that she can really take accountability for who she is. You know, it's important that we know who we are before we can even, determine what that means. What does it mean to take accountability? Where do I stand? So I have an obligation to teach her who she is, to love her. I have an obligation to make sure that she has a healthy relationship with men, a healthy relationship with her father, and no relationship is perfect. And it's important that we as mothers, that we teach our children that even parents, have problems and difficulties, and we're all growing. We may not be where we need to be, but we can thank God that we're not where we used to be, so that our children can stand tall and be intentional concerning themselves and their hurts.
Okay. And I agree. And KQ, what is one of the big things that you notice when it comes to women in these relationships and gets to a point to be detrimental? In your line of profession, is like, what is your true professional advice for this? What can you tell us to help educate us better and to be better parents toward our children to teach them self-love?
I would have to agree with Miss Hooper. A lot of times we don't know self, and that's very important. The things that we see in the media, on TV, social media is a really, really big influence these days. And as we know, growing up, we didn't have those influences. We actually got our lessons from older women in the school, in the community, um, at home, and they passed down things that they were taught. And I can honestly say society is doing a very poor job at teaching those things this day and age. But we have a responsibility, as I said, like Ms. Hooper said, to get to know who we truly are, not what the media say we should be, not what your friends are telling you you need to be, or even a man at that point. And a lot of times we go astray because we don't even know what to look for, because we don't even have those examples in the community, because everybody is either trying to outshine the next person or outgrind the next person. And there is really no unity. There is no teaching. There is really not a whole lot of nothing that they're being offered. So it's a lot of soul searching. And as far as when it comes to the men, I feel that they're lost too. So basically, the blind leading the blind. And I heard you say earlier about attaching on to a certain type of guy, and because that's what, looking at these reality shows and looking at these videos on social media, and the kids these days spend a lot of time with their electronic devices. And the TV shows that we watched coming up, showing those families and those men who were, certain professions and things of that nature. That's not what's being advertised this day and age. They're advertising the drug dealers or the ones with the fast money, whatever the life may be. Things are we're living in a microwave society. And a lot of times we don't take time to slow down and get to know who we are, in order to know what we want, in order to seek those things that we need, and understand what taking accountability is. And you say it all the time about um, people upholding people in their wrong. Well, if I'm doing it and I think it's okay, and you're doing it, I'm gonna amen and I'm gonna high five you, which makes you think what you're doing okay too. So it's just, again, getting to know self in order to be able to know what taking accountability looks like. Because if you don't even know what you stand for, you definitely can't take accountability for it.
I think that's a powerful thing that you said, because like you said, when we were younger, we had older women to look up to. They spoke to us with wisdom, and they were teachers. And the Bible tells you that women are supposed to be teachers. And I'm not putting all the weight on the women, because the men are supposed to be teachers to the younger youth. And I love to walk in a school saying, when you see the coaches taking on with the kids and they're being a father figure to them, and even when they're mean to them, we're in a society now, like I said, it's microwavable. If they say the wrong thing, with, oh, you can't talk to my child like that, everything, we dumb our children down now, because everything is so sensitive. Everything is about everyone's rights, but we don't take accountability for what's wrong. And it's sad, because we see a lot of older women now, instead of them helping to change the world to back to what it used to be, now they're changing and they're trying to evolve. Well, it's okay for this and it's okay for that. It's not okay. That's why you see so many broken homes. You see so many broken relationships. You see so many broken children. Frederick Douglass made a speech in the 1800s, and it said, it's easier to be your broken children than to be your broken. And we have that. We have broken children and we have broken men. We don't fix the broken children. We try to fix the broken women, and it breaks down the children. We try to fix the broken men, but we break down the children. And we don't have examples anymore. Everything is about money. Everything is about how I feel, but not what's real and true. And that's why that book was so hard for me, because it was giving everybody a pass. It was wrong for me to say something inappropriate, but it's not wrong for me to steal from you. It's not wrong for me to betray you. It's not wrong for me to rightfully sit in your face and just use you. And me and KQ had this conversation. I would prefer to have a friend that'll say something harsh to me versus having a friend that'll smile in my face and steal something behind my back and take away my livelihood. No woman in that book was right. And I didn't want to put a narrative out of there saying either one was wrong. And I didn't want to change the author purpose because I feel everyone basically has something good about them, but some people do not want to change. And I think nowadays we're raising a generation of whatever you do is okay. You don't have to change as long as you're happy, as long as you're free. That's not self-love or accountability. That's teaching them to be destructive, to have destructive ways, and showing them that someone is going to always run to their rescue because now I have to feel like I'm your God to cover for you. Jashari, did you say your microphone was working now? I want you to highlight in because you are a younger voice. What do you see that we need to do as older women so we can help the younger girls?
Okay, first of all, one thing y'all gonna have to stop doing really, and I see this a lot in adults, y'all really gonna have to stop blaming social media for everything. Now, social media is a problem. Do not get me wrong, because social media is a start of a lot of problems. But just like there are always negative things on social media, there are a whole lot of positive things on social media too. It's just what you choose to feed into. So that's really on you. A lot of things that y'all really also don't pay attention to that goes wrong with
I'm sorry, y'all. She's also having technical difficulties with her phone, but that's why I wanted a younger voice because we miss a lot of things. We miss a lot of things. And that's why a table for queens is so important because it's a seat for everyone to sit down, men and women to learn and to take accountability. What was something that truly stood out to you, Leora, in that book with the characteristics, traits, and putting the women against each other, not coming into unity?
Okay, Ma, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm back. My phone. I really apologize for my phone. I do apologize. Okay, where was I? A lot of things that go wrong with a lot of children, the things that they see and the stuff they play on their mind. I can actually speak for this because this also what like affected me about some things that I see in my thought process. It's really sometimes it don't be social media. It just be where you are. Like what city you in, who you be around on a daily basis, what you hear, what you come home to. That feeds more into a child than social media does. Because most of the time, that's why kids go to social media to get away from their home. And I have seen this with friends and classmates. Now, I can say that the school thing is a lot of things that's also wrong with the kids is because of friends. Sometimes we social media is who you choose to hang around too. Because our friends or your so-called friends will actually tell you things or feed things in your head that's not 100% correct. You just be like, why would you say that? Or why would you do that? Or just because you're doing it, why should I have to do that too? For us to continue to have more ways to hang out. Okay, well, since she doing this, then I can do it too because well, this my friend and I love her and I want to continue to be around her. But I'm gonna be around her if I feed into the same behavior that she is doing because this is what we're gonna have in common. This will seem like it's gonna be fun. And it's fun then, but at the end, it always ends up being destructive. And it always ends up like hurting you or messing you up. And now stuff be going on with them too. That's why they choose to do that. But they make that okay with themselves. And it becomes a normal routine. So it's not as destructive on them as it would be on you. Because it's something new that you can add into your life. And now it's just hitting you like a ton of bricks when it all falls down. You'll see a father in a relationship, but he never do any of his women right. So you just be like, okay, maybe that's just how men are. Mother or sister or friends get in certain relationships, just be like, okay, well, I'm starting to see all the same patterns that I see at my house around the people who also with me. So maybe this is simply just normal. So maybe I should just put up with it because everybody else is too. So it's the new norm for us. So it's just like, okay, this is what I see every day. This is what I'm used to. This is just the normal. This is the actual normal. So after a while, you do just start putting yourself down. When it do start hitting like a ton of bricks like that. Man, I can't even speak on men this generation, y'all. I really don't even know what to say. They're not even men no more. They're boys. And a lot of the reason why they be boys because they be lost. Your father probably not even in your life. And if he is in your life, he don't even want to be a man himself. So how is he gonna teach his son to be a man? How am I gonna show my daughter what a man is like if I don't even know how to be one myself? It's just like I can't tell you what to show you what a real man is, how a real man's supposed to love you if I don't even love your mom for real. I'm just here just to be here.
Okay,
So it just be a lot of that.
So as parents, because we're listening, what do we need to do?
What a lot of y'all, I would say a lot of parents need to do, is need to start with self-actualization. Just need to start realizing stuff about you. No, just start noticing little things about yourself. Okay, that's not right. Or that's a little off. Or I don't want my child to see or hear or go through them things. So I should probably fix this. Maybe I should remove this person out of my life, for the sake of my kids. Maybe I should fix my thought process because a parent thought process eventually becomes your child's thought process.
So it's basically what KQ was saying earlier, self-awareness, and what Shell was saying, we need to teach them who they are by learning who we are.
Yes.
Okay, powerfully received. Okay, Shell, what I was asking you earlier. What was the narrative in that book that stood out to you that you see in our community that we can get better by?
Wow. I first just like to give kudos to Jasharia for that insightful, powerful, beautiful comment. And I really believe that wow, that needed to be said. I do believe that there is a crisis. And I love that she said everything is not about social media because just recently I was having a conversation about social media and how if you're sad, there's some funny stuff out there on social media to make you laugh. And anything it is that you need to help you, you can Google it. If you're depressed, or how can I just not be depressed? You can go to YouTube and there will be a list of things out there that you can find to help you with depression. If you've been cheated on, you can just type in there, been cheated on. It's just amazing, the information. And we are in the age of information, this technology age that we are in. And I think that we need to steer our children in that direction. And it is true, the examples that we're seeing when you're not seeing any positive relationships, but even that's available. If you look for it, we will have what we seek out there. We can actually look at some relationships and just say, this is not what I want for myself. And we can gear in that direction to ensure that we don't have that. So I just love that comment that she made, and it's true. It is completely true. And, I like to say that you can research with this technology and get everything you need. There are books available. There are videos, personal experiences, testimonies that will build you up, that will encourage you. We just have to go and look for the positive. We have to look for it.
And we do, because life is hard. As parents, as children, and that's one thing I tell them all the time, we're not gonna always be perfect and get it right. But she said one of the most powerful things, it also starts at home. We can't constantly let them see negative things and make an excuse for it. We have to learn to be women and men enough to walk away from destructive relationships. We have children and we put them out here in this society, and it's like, our parents say, well, whatever going on in my household, it stay in my household, but it also stays in that child mind and heart. And you see so many parents taking up, well, my child maybe did this, or my child maybe did that, or you did this, you did that. It's about accountability. After a minute, it's not if your child did, it's about consistency. If you keep seeing a person going through the same pattern in life, it's not everybody. It's something within them that they need to heal and fix. If you see a girl and always end up in the same relationships, it's not the relationships, it's her. If you see a guy, his situationships always turn out the same, it's not everybody, it's him. And as parents, we got to stop playing God to our children. When mine go through something, you want to wrap my arms around them and be there and love them, but sometimes I have to let them go through because I'm not guaranteed to them. I try to have a positive role environment. Now I have younger children coming up, and that's the scariest part. So it's like, as a parent, I have to do what's best for them. I have to change the scenery that they see because I want better for them. I have to correct the mistakes that I made with the older ones because I was young being a mother, but I protected them and showed them love. It don't mean it was always right or perfect. That's why I'm not afraid to put mine on, because she has a voice, and I thank her because it's powerfully received. And I want all kids to be aware. And I used to tell my students at all time, you have a voice, use it wisely. If you're hurt, say you're hurt. If your parents are not listening, if you got to write them a note, write them a note. And the powerful thing about a book is you can find a character and you can escape in a character. The mind is a powerful thing. Like you said, you can do research. I sent y'all something earlier, and it was talking about Felicia Blakely and Latoya Brown. These are two little young, they were young Black girls from the South. Different experiences. One lived in Atlanta and one lived in Tennessee. One got a pass out of jail. She's living her life. She's married, but one is still in jail. She has HIV. She has a young child that does not really know her. She was in an abusive relationship. She never got a chance to speak her voice. And if we look at it and we don't see this in our communities, we base a lot of things on our backgrounds, how we look, and the people that we choose to help. Centoya looked like the innocent little girl that killed a man because she said he sex trafficked her, but she rightfully got in trouble with him. You said you wanted to get rims for your boyfriend. You called back the next day with that dead body to tell your friends to go over there and steal. And after the fact, you called the police. Felicia Blakely experience was a little bit different. You get with an older guy, he has you pimping out and stripping in the club. He beats you, he burnt you. Then you get on drugs, you go rob, and you kill more than one person. But your narrative is still not being told. No one is advocating for you because you came from the less protocol where your family is not speaking for you. Society did not deem you as pretty and innocent. You looked like a mean criminal to society. And we criminalize each other for this. Me and my students went over this in class, and we stayed on this topic for a month because I wanted them to see this is how society see you. To some people, you are a mean, uneducated, little ignorant Black girl. To some people, you are a beautiful Black girl. You are a shining star. To some people, you have no color. You are a person. You are meaningful. You have power in your life, regardless of your race, creed, or color. But society does not always see that. And within our society, we have to learn to change the narrative to make sure they see, no, don't just see a color. See that as a young, innocent girl that's fighting for something and going through something, and get them the help that they need. KQ, in your profession, how do y'all handle situations like this? Okay, I think she got kicked off. Okay, Ms. Hooper, I know you deal around children every day and you deal with a lot of behaviors. What is the way that we have to change that narrative from when they see one child is bad, but the other child is good, and both of them have the same behavior?
Well, I think that as adults, and not only adults, but anybody in authority, be it a professional setting like Ms. KQ, or even in a classroom, police, we have to do our own self-regulating. We find so often that adults struggle with self-control. So regardless of what setting we're in, when we're dealing with children, we need to exercise self-control, even when it relates to their abilities or their disabilities. So that's something that, as far as the accountability, we have to take responsibility and be held accountable for our actions. Now, we can teach gentleness, but people understand gentleness. They want to be treated gentle, So it's one of those things where we can only change ourselves. So the change begins with us.
Okay. KQ.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got disconnected. What was the
Yeah,
question?
I know. We were saying, how do we stop this narrative on deeming one person is bad and one person is good when they possibly have the same behaviors? how do we stop from the narrative of playing people against each other and making people actually take accountability for just anything they do wrong? Like, it has to be a flat line. Wrong is wrong. You can't write this wrong because of this, and you can't make this right because of this. How do we change that narrative to get back to a point how we did grow up? No, you wrong. Wrong is wrong and right is right.
I don't think it's not pushed enough, you know. We take things and, like Sharia said, it's the norm. That's what we used to. It's been going on for so long. It's been happening since, and not just that particular subject, but a lot of things go on that it has become the norm that we just choose to ignore it. Nobody is pushing hard enough. And when you do push, you push it the same old way that you've been pushing it for years. My thing is, if you've been doing it this long and it's not working, let's do something different.
Right. You
So,
remember we had that conversation. It's like, well, you can't make a person, you can't push them if you know they're doing something. So we can't make them and push them. What do we do?
and I don't mean pushing a person. I mean being that voice, pointing out those things, fighting for those things that we know is wrong. Again, you can't make anybody do anything. You can't. And that goes back to being accountable. You have to want to do something. You have to take the action. And no matter what is keeping you from doing it, you can blame your environment. We can blame social media. We can blame your parents. You can blame who or whatever you want to. At the end of the day, you are the person responsible for that change. But when it comes to who's right, who's wrong, we're giving this person a pass, or we're giving this situation a pass over here. But then here it is, the same situation over here. And oh, let's condemn this person or this situation. Well, who's going to stand up? Who's going to say something? Who's going to push the issue? Nobody wants to do that. I remember having a conversation with a young Black man, and I talked about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, those people who a long time ago, once upon a time, were those changes that would stand up, that would fight, that would have a voice. And you know what I was told? It's like, you don't have those type of people anymore because those people die. They kill those kind of people. So it's like nobody want to push the bill. Nobody want to say something out of fear because it's like, oh, we know what happened to those type of people. So I don't know why we don't fight for those things that we know is right, but we're not pushing it. It's us.
I think you are correct, and I tell people that all the time. It's like, no, you had Harriet Tubman's, you had Martin Luther King's, you had Malcolm X, because it mattered. We had to change because we would not be here having a seat if we did not have those game changes. Even when it was right or wrong, Martin Luther King Jr. said he knew he was going to die at a young age, but he wanted a world where his kids could be created as equal. Now that we got a right to sit at the table, we're busy looking at each other because we're crabs in a bucket and we pulling each other down. Our indifferences make us hate each other because everybody is pointing a finger at somebody for something. And then we're enablers. We are enablers. And what we fail to realize, we're killing each other as a society because drugs are killing us. We're killing each other. Greed is killing us. Everything is destroying and killing us. And that was another powerful thing that stood out in that book. Greed killed them. You were so greedy and you didn't find anything wrong with being greedy. We have that in this society now. Money is a factor. We're not going to stand up for so many things because I'm worried about losing my job. I'm worried about losing my livelihood. I'm worried about this because I cannot change this narrative because everybody is not going to stand behind me. Jashari, do you let me and I got what you were saying about everything that needed to change and stuff like that, but even as a youth, what do you see within the school community, around the community, that is not pushed enough for children? Do you see a lot of favoritism, or do they divide? Do you still think the teachers show favoritism? Do they divide and conquer, or do they make y'all feel less or empower y'all as students to change?
Teachers most definitely do show favoritism. They do. Things that do need to be pushed in school, I would say, is real life situation and scenarios. The school doesn't really talk about that. They don't. I guess they don't realize that we have to grow up and go into this real world. So most things in schools is not really needed for the outside world. Instead of y'all just teaching about all these equations, these problems that we're not gonna use, how about y'all just start telling us about real life things? When you go here, this not gonna be, teachers don't talk to you anymore. They just give you work, keep you busy, give you grades so I can get my paycheck and you just go on with your day. I feel like teachers don't care enough as they should. I know back then y'all had teachers and people who actually talk to y'all about real things, like actually like really preach to y'all. They don't do that anymore. I feel like that needs to be pushed. Instead of y'all just giving us this, sometimes I just feel like they just need to take a day, maybe a couple hours, because it don't even have to take that long for you just to push on a powerful message to somebody. It don't even, sometimes it have to be hours. It can really just happen in minutes if you let it. I feel like they just need to, since we already be sitting down there, just sitting there and just actually talk to them and let them know about real life situations and the things that they go through. Let them know, okay, well, look, that's normal. That's part of the growing and the learning process. And in the real
But what if
world,
they
it's
say if
gonna
you're
go
supposed
like
to get
this.
this at home?
Everybody don't have a home.
So what about the narratives they're saying you're supposed to be taught that at home?
Everybody doesn't have a home. Everybody does not have a home. Some people just have a house. Some people don't have a house. Some people they just living. They just living. Every kid doesn't even have parents, guardians to watch over. And like I said, most schools know this because, well, they do be in your business, so they know this. And then not only that, most kids who go to the school, the teachers, y'all know some of these kids personally. So that's, and also the thing about this is when y'all was in school, some stuff y'all supposed to been learning at home. Y'all know y'all didn't learn it at home. Y'all had to come to school and learn this from a teacher or an adult, from somebody up there. So how don't you think it's gonna apply to the younger generations now? Then we have more negative influences in our faces than y'all did. Cause like I said, social media. Like I said, it does depends on what you feed into. But like I said, there are positive and negative things on social media, on the internet, from the social world. It's more things to look into. It's easier to get into things that you're not supposed to get into, and see things and hear things and learn things that you're not supposed to. So I feel like since at school, certain websites and stuff like that are banned on computers. So you can't get on it. When you get on their Wi-Fi, you can't even access these certain things on there. So y'all block out the outside negative influences, but y'all not teaching us in the schools why y'all blocking out these negative influences. Tell us why y'all blocking out these negative influences. Well, I don't want you to see these negative influences. We blocking it from y'all because so in the real world, if you actually see that and you get into it now, it's gonna damage you later on. You don't do that. They don't do that.
I
I
have
feel
a
like they
question.
should.
I have a question, Shari.
Okay.
Do you feel that the teachers you have at school are even capable of teaching you certain things? Like, do you feel that the examples at school is someone who you would even want to listen to give you any type of life advice?
Yes. I actually have two teachers of my own who do give you real life honest advice. Like they will actually just sit down and be very honest with you, just like, well, look, here y'all, this is what it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This is just what it is. Okay. I'm sorry I had to give it to you like this, but not really. But look, this is what it is. Now, I feel like every teacher can give students advice because you're an adult. You have went through school, you have went through high school, junior high, all these stuff that we have. Most of y'all didn't went to college. Y'all didn't experience real life stuff as adults, what we soon gonna be learning too, that we finna be going through. So why not try to pass down a lesson to us before we get to bumping into, now some students, I do understand you do have to let them bump their head and run into stuff for them to learn. But you can't say that you ain't at least try to tell them first.
I can honestly say like I said, in my classroom, we did touch some of these issues because the kids would reach out and say like, hey, why don't y'all teach us this and why don't y'all teach us that? But my classroom was different. I taught journalism, so I could teach them about real life issues. And that was my biggest plight. Jill knew even before I started this book club, I wanted to be for teenagers. And the reason why, because I saw that great need of what Jashari is saying. Kids needed an outlet. They needed someone to talk to. They want to talk about their home. Their parents were not listening. Sometimes as parents, we don't get it. Because we have a vision for you all as children. I'm sorry, you guys, I have an interruption there. Hold on, Lala. We have a vision for you as children, so sometimes we miss the beat. And then as teachers, that's one of the reasons what I miss about teaching, being able to reach the kids and tell them something more. But what I hate about it is political. We teach you the test to pass, so you go ahead and get out of there. And it's sad, but it's true. So it's like you were saying earlier, same thing that Ware and KQ has been saying. The world has changed, and unfortunately, instead of us holding on to the true strongholds that we need, we shy away from it because we're changing with the world. We're not evolving as women of wisdom. We're evolving as women that trying to fit in with the world instead of trying to change the world. And it's sad because we see it in a lot of older women too. We make excuses for the wrong thing. And I'm gonna always say that because that's what you see now. You don't find advocates. You don't find educators that are pushing for true reform for the children. You don't find people that are truly trying to help men broken homes. You don't find women holding men accountable. You don't find men holding women accountable. We enable everything because we love them. So we start playing God in people's lives, and now it's God's walking around the world. We're trying to change the Bible. We're trying to change the narrative about everything to fit into society where we say this is what we want. Does anyone have anything else? Okay, you guys, we do have a new book that we're introducing, and as you see, it's going to cover a lot of some of these same issues. It's going to be talking about somebody from when she was young, growing up, making mistakes, going into different relationships, and she's going to tell you that she did have a foundation of the background, some things she knew better about, but she had to find a self-awareness for herself. It's about her accountability and her self-love. So we're going to have her on. She's going to come on December the 26th. And I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And please share this video because these are some narratives that we have to start changing in our community. Leora and KQ, I would like to hear your voices before we sign off. Thank you so much, Jasharia. I pray that it helps younger girls. I pray it helps us as parents and as educators, because we all are, to learn to do stuff better, to listen to you guys more, and try to sit down and work with you guys to see what we honestly need to do. Because I tell y'all all the time, I don't care what life looks like. I don't care what career path that the world say good. I want you to be happy. I want you to be somebody in this world and a force to be reckoned with. And I know you can change the world. Just with your voice today, you can change the world because you have it within you. So thank you so much, Jashara, for logging on. KQ and Kim, I would love to hear you guys' voices before we log off.
Just having those conversations, communication, some people may beg to differ, but communication is the key, and not just talking amongst each other. People think, oh, since I say something and then you say something, that it's effective communication. Yeah, you're communicating because you're talking, but it's not effective communication. So actually having those conversations, listening, not just to speak, but to understand, and actually taking action. And that's my thing. Let's take action. We can talk all day. Like the old saying, don't just talk about it, be about it. What are we doing? Stop blaming this person or that person, or pointing the finger over here on politics, religion, social media, whatever it is. I believe it's a host of things. There is no cookie cutter way of handling this thing. There is no cookie cutter reason as to why these things are going on. Like Jasharia said, your environment plays a lot into how you think, how you act, how you feel. Again, social media. Again, television. Again, your friends. Again, like there is no one particular thing. And when we start having those conversations and actually taking action and doing something about these things catch on. Just
It
like
do.
we see TikTok videos and one person make a video and then here it is, the whole world is trending. Let's change the narrative and do something different, do something positive, and let that trend too. We don't have enough of that.
Right, and be strong. It has come to a point you have to be strong. Just because you see everybody doing it and making sense, and I'm sorry, and I know some people gonna come for me. If you 30 years old, you ain't got no business on social media promoting drugs. You ain't got no business on social media cursing and acting like teenagers because they see that. How can you be a mother and you trying to teach your child something different and you on here cussing, you on here acting a fool, you on here arguing over who body better? And no, you are a mother. Ain't nothing wrong with you enjoying your life, but stop lying to yourself like I got to promote drinking, I got to promote drugs, I got to promote sex. Then I'm saying this, you can't be all over the place. You can't be all about a man. You can't be all about a woman. Sometimes you got to be about yourself, speaking some wisdom. And if you on here just for the have fun, that's fine. But you got to realize, I don't care what you say, that's your page, that's your social media, but we are accountable as a community because if we want better, we got to do better. That's the same way with a man. You ain't got no business on here telling these young boys, do this, that, and the third, disrespecting females, calling them out their name, telling them to sleep around. It started telling them, get to know yourself, get involved in something in the community, power up, start being a better man. Like you said, it starts with communication, but putting the communication into action. It does. We can't say one thing and then time we get off, I'm rolling up a joint and finna sit down and smoke and talk about my problems. Because that's not helping somebody. You feeding into somebody else because this cool. You can't be Billy Joe down the street and I'm finna go smoke with Larry over here and Larry 14 and I'm 35. No, you got to have some accountability and you wonder why society look at you different. Wrong is just wrong. And that's the same way with women. I can't tell you where beauty comes to you because you got to put all this in. You are uniquely beautiful, whether you got straight hair, perm hair, braids, or anything. We even changing the standards of beauty just to make everything sound okay. It's power in self-love, whatever you choose to do. Like I said, if it's not damaging anybody, it's okay. But some stuff you do, it does damage us as a society. It starts with us. Leora, you have anything you want to say?
Well, I completely agree with you and KQ. It does start with us, and we can change, and that change, of course, it begins with the adults. We are the role models, and I read the other day where concerning change, that the author in this book, he mentioned that it's like a soiled diaper. Where one would say it's warm and it's mine, where you'll stay in that abusive relationship. You'll stay in that terrible place because are you laughing, Kim?
I don't know who wants to say a sword dice, but you're right.
They say it's warm and it's mine, right? So
Yeah.
you're in this abusive relationship. You're in this place where you may not be physically abused, but some of us are emotionally abused, or we're feeling low about ourselves, we're depressed, and but I just want to say, as I close, it made me laugh when I read it. I'll probably never forget it. I mean, you can change. You can change, and I believe that we're in a season of victory. So much has been paid for us through Christ, and we have to have a victory mindset instead of a mindset of defeat and depression. And we need to take in life and take in positivity. You can stay in that place of a soiled diaper, and eventually you'll get a diaper rash.
Right.
Yeah.
We have to change. We cannot take that stance saying, it's warm and it's mine. No. Change is good. Change is good.
And with that being said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Like you say, if you go ahead and catch that diaper, and it may be wet, it may be overly wet, but take that thing out before you get a rash. Cause now you gotta buy cream, you gotta do this, and you gotta wait for it to heal. So an ounce of prevention, go ahead and nip it in the bud. That way, you're not dealing with a bigger issue on down
Right.
the.
Okay, and Jashari, let's hear the younger voice, because I mean we're older, but we are never too old to unlearn some things, because we learned some things wrong. We have taught things wrong, so we have to unlearn some things. And as parents and adults, we are not always right.
Surely isn't.
What is a lasting message that you want to leave with us?
One thing I would like to leave the parents, since y'all do have kids, and I'm gonna be honest, a lot of kids don't understand because we do not have children of our own. Most times they start to realize and start to hit you when you have younger siblings or younger cousins who you be around a lot. I don't think I want to tell y'all is just because y'all got kids and other lives, I know a lot of things come in, and I know a lot of stuff be stressing on y'all because y'all adults, y'all have stuff from here, from everywhere. It just come crash down. Sometimes y'all should just show y'all kids or the people that y'all around, look, it's okay not to be okay. It's fine. That's life. Yeah, it's gonna hit me hard. And it hurt right now, y'all. And I'm gonna let y'all know this. But guess what? It probably hurt now. But guess what? Later, it's not. It's gonna be fine and it's gonna be over with. I just gotta shake it off. And it's fine to let it hurt at first. Because holding it in and not letting it hurt, it's you leaving that toxicity in you. You just letting all that toxic energy, that anger, that sad, and you just letting it sit there and you just letting it build up. Which eventually it'll waste on your kids if you let it. So I just say, let it out. Let it out, y'all. Just because y'all a parent don't mean y'all don't have a right to feel and let things out. It don't make you weak. It makes you stronger. And I feel like it builds a better bond with your kids also.
So in other words,
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And I think in this society, we have learned to be such strong Black women. And I'm not going to even say Black women. We have to learn to be such strong women because we have a lack of representation of people standing beside us. You have great men out here, and I'm not taking away. You have great, powerful men. You have single parents as men. You have men taking on stronger roles in their children's lives. And unfortunately, you have some men and some women that don't. But it's okay to feel. It's okay to have a breakdown, but it's not okay to stay down. And then another thing we have to stop doing, we have to stop soaking up our emotions in men, women, sex, drugs. We have to stop looking for enablers and start being able to enable ourselves. Thank you for sharing that, Jashara, because that's powerfully received, because a lot of women need to know it's okay. It's okay for to say how you feel. It's okay for to cry. It's okay for the breakdown. And it's okay because everyone is not Superwoman or Superman. Thank you guys so much for logging on. Please get our next book. It's out there on our webpage, The Table for Queens. We love you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. We will always be back to you, giving you the hard issues. We may not always have the best opinions, but we're going to give you our opinions that solely come from our heart, that wants to help change our community as a whole. United as one. United as one. United we stand, but divided we fall. Thank you guys. Have a blessed rest of your night. Love you guys and see you next week.
Good night.